A year ago, I left without a word. I ended the messed up thing Leon and I had going on right under our parents' noses. A year later, in a London pharmacy. He snatched the Plan B out of my hand, his face cold, and put it back on the shelf. Tell that guy to get lost. What kind of man makes a girl deal with this crap afterwards? That night, a full case of ultra-thin 001 condoms showed up at my door. The note on top said, "Consider it my treat." You know, sometimes things are so ridiculous you just have to laugh. But later, he was the one who ripped my new nightgown. And he used every single one of those condoms on himself. To make sure I was in top form for my gallery show in 3 days, I went to the pharmacy to get some birth control pills to delay my period. I had just taken a box off the shelf when a hand grabbed my wrist. A tall figure blocked the light to my left. Leon's lips were pressed into a thin line. He didn't say a word. He took the pill box from my hand and briskly put it back on the shelf. Then he dragged me out of the pharmacy. "Let go. Leon, what are you doing?" I stumbled behind him as he pulled me along. His back was to me the whole time, and he didn't answer. It wasn't until I winced, twisting the wrist he was gripping so tightly, that he stopped. "Let me go, you're hurting me." He finally let go. We stood there, staring at each other, frozen for a moment. His brow was furrowed, his chest rising and falling with anger. But he managed to control himself, his voice tight with suppressed rage. "Who is he? Can't afford condoms? What kind of man makes a girl deal with this crap afterwards?" I was so speechless I just scoffed. He bit out 2 cold words, "Say something." "What do you want me to say? And who are you to be interrogating me like this?" "HM. My brother in name only. Need I remind you that the day I left your family's house, you became nothing to me? Or are you asking as my former FWB?" I took a step closer, meeting his gaze without flinching. His brow tightened, a rare flash of pain in his eyes. His tone was icy. "Is that how you saw our relationship?" I laughed. "What else was it? Isn't that the understanding we had all those years?" He let out a heavy, frustrated breath, trying to calm down. He changed the subject, his voice restrained. "I don't care if he's your boyfriend, or what?" I stared at him, not blinking. He paused, then continued. "Or your sex partner. You should still protect yourself." It was so ridiculous it almost hurt. I stepped forward again, looking up at him. "So, my dear old stepbrother, you didn't fly all the way to London just to lecture me, did you?" "Yeah, my taste in men sucks. You of all people should know that. Otherwise, I wouldn't have wasted so many years tangled up with you, right?" His eyes twitched, the coldness in them sharp enough to cut. "Wasted? Is that why you disappeared a year ago without a word? Because you felt like you were wasting your time? So you couldn't even give us a chance to talk it out?" Those were the eyes I had gotten lost in for countless nights. But right now, the emotion swirling in them was dark and unreadable. I stayed silent. He pushed on. "Why aren't you talking?" I turned my head away, a bitter lump forming in my throat. "Talk about what?" "About how you spent all those years manipulating me into falling for you. Talk about how you navigated our secret, messed up relationship so effortlessly. Or should we talk about all the ways you secretly schemed to make my life miserable?" Leon and I were step-siblings in a blended family. Years ago, his father and my mother both cheated on their spouses. They got together and got married. As a way to protest, we did every messed up thing we could think of under the same roof. Except I started with a secret crush. He started with a need for revenge. I thought we were on the same side. In the end, I found out that, ridiculously, I was just another target for him to destroy. That's why he was always push-pull, hot and cold. All those little moments I thought meant he loved me were just a carefully constructed act. He set up an elaborate scheme to crush my mom's hopes for me and sabotage my application to the Royal College of Art. The irony is that it led me to study architecture, which I actually loved. The whole charade ended dramatically the night my mom almost had a miscarriage. Our parents walked in on us. His dad accidentally pushed my mom over. And that was the night Leon and I found out she was pregnant. The baby she was carrying had genes from both of our families. And my mother begged me not to ruin the happiness she had fought so hard to build. Ha! Happiness built on destroying others. How laughable. How absurd. After that, I left without a word. I told everyone I was going to London for a few days on a business trip, but I was actually immigrating. Leon said he wanted to see me off at the airport, that we needed to talk when I got back. But I lied about my flight's departure time. And cut off all contact with everyone back home. We stood there at a standoff in front of the pharmacy. Realizing arguing was getting us nowhere, he went to get his car to drive me home. The moment he walked away, I ducked into a side street. And hailed my own cab home. Less than an hour after I got back, a package arrived. Confused, I opened it. Inside was a huge box of ultra-thin 001 condoms and a box of pills. On top was a card. I asked a doctor friend here. This brand of birth control has the fewest side effects. Don't take the other kind again. As for the other stuff, consider it my treat. Last thing. Tell that guy to get lost. I stared at the familiar handwriting on the card, completely stunned. Sometimes things are so ridiculous, you just have to laugh. Telling the other guy to get lost, but sending me condoms? This guy is certifiably insane. The next few days were a blur of work for the gallery opening. I didn't see Leon again. He's probably back home by now, I figured. But as soon as I had the thought, my heart felt strangely empty. Just as I was standing there, watching the staff take down the paintings, the curator called my name. His name is Aaron. He's a British-born Chinese. We were classmates years ago when I first came to London to study. Olivia, what are you spacing out for? I called your name a few times. You've worked so hard these past few days. He patted my shoulder. Oh, right. I want to introduce you to our exhibition's investor. He's also Chinese. When I saw the man's back, my heart skipped a beat again. He turned around, and our eyes met. Aaron noticed something was off and looked at me with concern. He put an arm gently around my shoulder and leaned in to whisper in my ear. What's wrong? Leon's gaze dropped from my face to my right shoulder, to Aaron's hand. A flash of displeasure crossed his eyes before he walked over to us. He offered a polite, but cold, smile, as if our argument the other night never happened. The layout and design of the gallery are very creative. Congratulations. You're finally doing what you always wanted. Aaron looked between us, confused. You two know each other? Leon didn't answer, just kept his eyes fixed on me. It was like he was waiting to see how I'd respond. After a few seconds of silence, I forced a smile. I turned to Aaron and said, "Let me introduce you. This is my brother." Aaron was clearly taken aback. But he was polite enough to make a few minutes of small talk. After the gallery show, we all went to a rooftop bar with live music. In a lull in the conversation, one of our friends who had just sung a song walked past Leon on his way down from the stage. He joked, "Mr. Brown, how about you go up and sing one for us?" Everyone started cheering and egging him on. They were all curious to see what a polished, corporate guy in a suit was like when he let his hair down. Leon looked up, his eyes passing over me. He has a great singing voice, but he rarely uses it. Once, at a campus talent show, he had to fill in for a sick classmate. He went up and sang a Cantonese song, "Stubborn." The lyrics went, "We're not built to love just one person forever." The way he held the microphone, so cool and rebellious, made every guy and girl in the audience scream and cheer. Afterward, he was mobbed by girls backstage asking for his number. A lot of other girls tried a different approach. They'd buy me dinner, give me gifts. They'd randomly start conversations with me, all hoping to use me, his little sister, to get closer to him. There were also a few other times he sang. In bed. After we were done, I'd be lying in his arms. Like any couple in love, I'd coax him into singing for me. Leon stood up and took off his suit jacket. He went on stage and sang Kelly Chen's Who's Willing to Let Go. He caught the attention of all the foreigners in the bar, their eyes all focused on the stage. As he sang, his gaze swept over me several times. When I got back to my seat, Leon was already there. A blonde girl shrugged and pouted as she walked away from him. She had probably just tried to get his number. Celine, a designer from our studio, had already moved from the seat next to me to the booth beside Leon. She casually looped both of her arms through his. Her entire body leaned against him, using him for support. "Mr. Brown, you're going to give me a complex," she purred. Her plunging neckline offered an impressive view to anyone who glanced down. People who've lived abroad for a while tend to be pretty open about this stuff. It's just seen as a casual fling, a mutual agreement. If you like someone, you say so. She made no effort to hide her attraction to Leon. Leon's expression didn't change. He just subtly removed her hands from his arm. He leaned forward, picking up his drink from the table. He did it smoothly, without embarrassing her. "We're all adults here." Celine got the hint and didn't push it. She just smiled, sat up straight, and didn't look flustered at all. In between drinks, one of the Chinese friends in our group repeated a lyric from the song Leon sang. "Praying we'll meet again, not giving up, not running away." Sounds like Mr. Brown was singing about someone special. "You're telling me there's someone in this world who our Mr. Brown can't have?" Leon just smiled, his fingers tracing the rim of his glass. His eyes landed on me. "There is someone, but..." My heart tightened. Everyone leaned in, curious. "But what?" His gaze never left me, his voice tinged with sadness. But I didn't realize my own feelings back then. No matter how much they prodded after that, he just smiled. Finally, everyone turned their attention to me. "Olivia, you must know who your brother is talking about, right? You're his sister, after all. There must be some epic story there. Come on, spill." Leon's expression was unreadable. I knew he was saying it on purpose. And I knew he was waiting for my answer. I paused, then said nonchalantly, "I don't really know much about his personal life." "Ah, you're no fun." Shot down, they all playfully booed me. Aaron, seeing his chance, cut in. He quickly changed the subject to rescue me. "Mr. Brown, your Cantonese is excellent." "It's all right. I lived in Hong Kong for a few years as a kid." "Oh, really? In that case, Olivia, do you speak Cantonese too?" I turned to look at Aaron almost instinctively, because he'd never called me Olivia before. He always used my full name, Olivia Lin. My friends, who had been losing interest, suddenly perked up again. "Ooh, Olivia, that's so sweet. Aaron, did you finally make your move?" Aaron just smiled, neither confirming nor denying. Just then, over the sound of teasing laughter, a cold, calm voice cut through. "She doesn't speak Cantonese." Leon had dragged the topic back again. His eyes met Aaron's. Then his lips twisted into a small smile. "We're not blood related. We only started living together when she was 16. After a few more rounds, my skin started to itch. "Olivia, what's wrong with your neck?" By the time the friends sitting next to me noticed, rashes had already broken out on my arms and legs. "Aaron, are you allergic to alcohol?" "Leon, are your hives acting up?" They both spoke at almost the exact same time. I stood up, about to grab my bag to go home and rest. Aaron beat me to it, picking up my purse. "I'll take you home." Leon walked over to me and draped his suit jacket over my shoulders. He looked down, his brow furrowing as he saw the rashes on my neck and arms. His gaze softened instantly. But when he looked up and met Aaron's eyes, his expression turned cool and composed again. You stay. Go to the after party with them. Don't ruin everyone's fun. With that, he reached for my bag in Aaron's hand. Aaron didn't let go. Leon lifted his eyes, meeting his stare. For a moment, they were locked in a standoff. Everyone's eyes were glued to the three of us. Finally, Leon broke the tension with a small smile. Aaron, I'm her brother. The implication couldn't have been clearer. If this went on any longer, it would just get more awkward. I had no desire to be the center of attention. So I spoke up. I'm fine, I just need to go home and rest. Everyone exchanged awkward glances. Well, isn't this the perfect setup for a forbidden step-sibling romance? So Olivia, your brother is that hot. Honestly, after living together for so many years, did you ever have a crush on him? Leon's eyes fell on me again. His lips were pressed into a tight line, his deep eyes as dark and unreadable as the ocean, fixed on me. This time, I didn't look away. I clearly enunciated 2 words, never have. I saw his fingers tighten around his glass. Then he tilted his head back and drained it in one go. When he looked up again, there was a flicker of loneliness in his eyes. And for a split second, it made my heart ache. After that, the conversation shifted from topic to topic. But Leon and Aaron didn't say another word. A strange, tense energy hung between them. You can go. I need to rest. Leon stood ramrod straight in the doorway. For as long as I'd known him, he always had this disciplined, self-controlled persona in public. Rest? You're going to rest covered in a rash. I can handle it myself. How? You grow an extra set of arms to reach your back? Leon, I did just fine on my own when you weren't around. At that, his expression flickered, like he wanted to say something but stopped himself. In the end, he said nothing, just grabbed my wrist and led me into the living room. He scanned the room, then gently placed his hands on my shoulders and sat me down on the sofa. He rolled up his shirt sleeves. He went to the kitchen, poured me a glass of warm water, and handed me a Claritin from the box he'd bought at the pharmacy. Take this first. I'll go run you a bath. We'll put the cream on after you wash up. He got to the bathroom door, then turned and added, hang in there. Don't scratch. He said it just as I was tilting my head, trying to reach an itchy spot on my back. Even my own mother didn't know I had chronic hives. It started right after my parents divorced and I had just moved into the brown house. I was so stressed I couldn't sleep at night. And suddenly, the hives exploded. The first time I had an acute attack, it was Leon who took me to the emergency room. It happened a few more times after that. It got so frequent that he knew how to handle it even better than I did. He'd run a lukewarm bath for me, apply the ointment, and make a special red bean porridge. He was worried I'd scratch in my sleep. So he'd hold my hand all night. After my shower, he came into the bathroom with the ointment. I stood with my back to him, facing the mirror. He swept my hair over to one side. Just like all the times before. His cool fingertips glided gently over every inch of my back. The touch of his skin reawakened every sensory memory. All the little moments from our past came flooding back. The cool of the cream gradually replaced the burning heat on my back. Halfway through, he stopped. He hooked a finger under the strap of my nightgown. And expertly started to slide it down. I instinctively clamped my hand down on his. He looked up, his eyes meeting mine in the mirror. He explained, there's still a spot down here I missed. I hesitated for a moment, then slowly turned to face him. His usually calm, indifferent features were now softened with tenderness. Maybe it was the alcohol, or maybe the night just makes you more vulnerable. My resolve was crumbling. So, I grabbed the collar of his shirt, stood on my tiptoes, and kissed him. He froze for a second. It was a quick, light kiss. He looked down, searching my eyes. Trying to catch a glimpse of something, anything, in their depths. I clutched his collar and kissed him again. This time, I bit his lip, hard. He winced in pain. And then he pulled me against him. He lowered his head and took control, his kiss demanding and fierce. It was like someone had suddenly thrown a match on a pile of dry kindling. Flames shot up instantly, burning with a crackling roar. My hands crept up to his neck. Both of our breaths grew hotter. His kisses moved from my lips to my chin, my neck. Just when I was about to run out of air, he scooped me up and set me on the bathroom counter. Then he looked into my eyes again, his gaze serious. I instinctively looked away, fumbling with the buttons on his shirt. He saw what I was doing and grabbed my hands. Let's talk. About a year ago, about. But I don't want to talk. I cut him off, looking up at him. I gave him a flippant smile. I stopped caring a long time ago. A year ago, I overheard him talking to Kevin. Kevin was his best friend. I heard Leon say with his own mouth that the only reason he was so nice to me was to lure me into his trap. So he knew I liked him all along. So all those times he got into fights for me with those thugs. Even skipping a major shareholder meeting at his family's company. All those seemingly kind gestures were just bait to draw me in. So when I finally worked up the courage to ask if we could be in a real relationship, like a normal couple, he calmly told me, I don't want to complicate things between us. The night our parents walked in on us, the night my mom almost had a miscarriage. Outside her hospital room, I had hoped he would finally be honest with me. But he said nothing. I lied and told him I was going to London on a business trip. But by then, the idea of leaving for good had already taken root. He told me we would have a serious talk when I got back. But why? Why was he always the one in control of the pace of everything? Why was he always so effortlessly in charge? Why did he get to decide when we would talk? I was sick of this one-sided relationship. It was completely draining. Don't care? Is that why you left without a word? Yes, I said firmly. He was silent. Then what was that kiss just now? I gave a cold laugh. What was it? Before you ask me, maybe you should ask yourself. You came all the way to London, sent me condoms, sent me medicine. And investing in the gallery show, that wasn't a coincidence, was it? It was part of your plan, right? What were you doing all this for? Wasn't it for this? For what just happened? So now that I'm giving you exactly what you want, why are you suddenly not happy? Besides, I'm single right now anyway. We can just go back to how things were. No strings attached. We both get what we need. How about it? He listened silently as I said all this. I must have been completely out of my mind. Because for a second, I thought I saw a rare flash of pain in his eyes. His lips moved, but he paused for a long time before speaking. His voice was hoarse. I was an asshole before. I did a lot of things to hurt you. But that day, outside the hospital, when I said we'd talk when you got back, I was serious. Do you know, I've never been as scared as I was that day. He lowered his head, pausing for a long moment. Scared of losing you completely. My throat felt like it was clogged with something. It ached. An unspeakable bitterness churned inside me. After a long silence, I pushed all of it back down. I said calmly, but I don't have feelings for you anymore. He slowly raised his head at my words. His eyes were full of loneliness and pain. I pulled my hand from his. Since we're not doing this, you can leave. That night, after he left, I went to the kitchen. The red bean porridge he had made was still in the pot. All the emotions I had been suppressing suddenly came rushing back. I stood there as tears streamed silently down my face. Finally, I sank to the floor, sobbing uncontrollably. The next time I saw Leon was at the designer Celine's birthday party. Besides him, Kevin was there too. His best friend. What was he doing in London? Leon and Kevin stood across the room from me, surrounded by a group of friends. Kevin caught my eye through the crowd, smiled, nodded, and raised his glass. Aaron, who was standing next to me, leaned in close to my ear. It created an intimacy that made us look like a couple. He asked in a low voice, "Friends from back home?" Ever since the gallery opening, I wasn't oblivious to Aaron's uncharacteristically attentive behavior. Just as I nodded, Kevin and Leon had already made their way over to us. "Long time no see, Olivia. You're looking more beautiful than ever." I smiled and nodded. Long time no see. Kevin's personality was the complete opposite of Leon's. They were both the kind of handsome that stood out in a crowd. But Kevin was cheerful and outgoing, a smooth talker who knew how to make girls happy. Leon stood beside him, silent. Kevin smiled and turned his attention to Aaron. "And who is this? Your boyfriend?" Before I could answer, Aaron reacted. He extended his hand. "Hi, you can call me Aaron." Kevin shot a knowing glance at Leon. Leon just looked away and took a sip of his drink. I excused myself to go to the restroom. On my way out, I ran into Celine and some other friends touching up their makeup in front of the mirror. One of them asked, "Ooh, is that the new Bulgari bracelet? Which handsome guy gave you that?" "It's not that new guy you met the other day, is it?" "Something's going on." Celine laughed and playfully scolded her, "What's going on?" "We've just had dinner together a couple of times. We were out shopping the other day, and he insisted on buying it for me." Her friend teased, "Oh, he insisted? You just met and he's already buying you such expensive gifts. Don't tell us it's just platonic." "Platonic, or are we talking about some lip-tonic friendship?" Celine just smiled, not saying anything. Then she turned, took my arm, and said, "Olivia, you should tell your brother and his friend to come over to my place after this. I have some work to do later. You guys go ahead." "See? You're already inviting him over. Your intentions couldn't be more obvious." "Totally. Olivia, don't go with her. She'll ditch you for a guy in a heartbeat." "Hey. What are you talking about? I'm not that kind of person." While everyone else was playing a game, Kevin walked over to me. "Why aren't you playing with everyone?" "Oh, I'm about to." We made small talk for a bit. I asked, "Are you here on a business trip?" He nodded. "Yeah, looks like I'll be coming to London a lot more often." "You have a business line here?" He turned to look at me, a hint of disbelief in his eyes. "You really don't know anything, do you?" I was completely confused. "Know what?" He let out a small laugh and shook his head. "That guy. He really didn't say a thing. He got serious. Ever since you left, Leon's barely gone home. His relationship with his dad has been strained. He didn't go to your little brother's birth, or the 1-month celebration. When his dad found out he was starting a new company in London, he flew into a rage. He called him shameless, said he had ulterior motives for coming to London, said some really nasty things. Not long ago, his dad gave him an ultimatum. Either shut down the London company immediately, or what? He took a deep breath and continued. Or be completely cut off from the Brown family business, liquidate all his shares, and be disowned. He agreed. He did. I stood there, speechless. A storm of emotions swirled inside me. "Olivia, I know it's not my place to interfere, and I know that when you decided to leave, you were ready to start a new life. But there are some things that, if I don't say them, he probably never will. I know him too well. Back then, your mom was insistent that you go to the Royal College of Art. He secretly sabotaged that, which led you to study architecture, something you actually loved. But I know that no matter the outcome, you were very disappointed in him for that. But think about it, Olivia. You two were together day in and day out back then. How could he possibly not know that all those drawings you were making were actually architectural designs? So was he deliberately trying to ruin things for you? Or was he trying to help you, in his own way? You should really think about it. Also, if you get the chance, you should check his travel history on his phone. Look at how often he flew back and forth between Shanghai and London ever since you started studying here a few years ago. And believe it or not, I've never seen him with any other girl besides you. He might have said that everything with you was just an act, but as an outsider, I could see it clearly. He was just a guy trapped in his own game, unable to see his own feelings. After he said all that, I looked over at Leon, who was in the corner of the room. A girl ran up to him, smiling and saying something. He pressed his lips together and said a few quiet words. The girl shrugged in disappointment and walked away. The moment he looked up, his eyes met mine. A huge wave crashed over me, my heart in turmoil. Looking at his inscrutable expression, I suddenly felt angry. I really couldn't understand him. Doing all these things in secret. But then also going shopping and out to dinner with a girl he'd known for less than a week, buying her a bracelet. What was that all about? My eyes started to burn. Not wanting him to see the turmoil inside me, I turned my head and walked away. Later, when we were all playing a game, it felt like everyone had conspired to push me and Aaron together. He kept taking drinks from me, and people were shouting, "Aaron, speed it up. Stop taking it slow, sometimes love is just about taking that final leap." Their hints couldn't have been more obvious. And Leon was sitting right across from me the whole time, his gaze never leaving our side of the table. But he just watched it all like an outsider. He was never very talkative, but tonight, I hadn't heard him say a single word. Fueled by alcohol, everyone was getting a little carried away. All night, Aaron had been deliberately vague. While everyone was laughing and talking, I pulled Aaron out onto the balcony. "What's been going on with you lately? Why do you ask?" He smiled gently, then took off his jacket and tried to drape it over my shoulders. "It's chilly out here. Don't catch a cold." I instinctively took a step back, holding up a hand between us. I didn't want him to come any closer. "Aaron, I remember being very clear about our relationship back when we were in school. So why have you been so ambiguous these past few days when everyone's been teasing us and trying to set us up?" The light in his eyes dimmed a little, but he kept the smile on his face. "You said it yourself, that was in the past. I thought that after spending this past year together, things might have changed. Aaron, I don't remember doing anything in our year of working together that would have given you any impression beyond friendship. You're a great friend and a great business partner, but that's all it is." His smile vanished, and he cut me off. "That's all? That's it? But what if I don't want it to stop there?" His gaze was firm, his tone almost aggressive. I had never seen him like this. For a moment, the atmosphere between us was tense. "Aaron, don't make it so we can't even be friends." He didn't answer right away. Flickers of disappointment crossed his face. After a long moment, he finally spoke. "So it's because of him, isn't it? All these years, the person in your heart has been Leon. Right?" After Aaron left, I stayed on the balcony for a while to get some air. As I turned to leave, I saw his jacket still on the chair. Sometimes, you have to admit, you can't control your heart. Love or no love, your body is always more honest than your words. I walked over, picked up the jacket, and headed back inside. Just as I was about to slide the balcony door shut, someone pushed me into the adjacent room. The door slammed shut, and I was pinned against it. A familiar men's cologne filled the air. The curtains were drawn, and the lights were off. The jacket I was holding fell to the floor. Leon, radiating an aggressive energy, trapped me in the tight space by the door. His voice was low and strained. He glanced at the jacket on the floor, then asked urgently, "Did you say yes to him? What are you doing? Let go." I twisted the wrist he was gripping. But he only held on tighter. The corners of his eyes were slightly red. His knee was pressed against my leg, immobilizing me. I was forced to look into his eyes. "Is this what you meant by being single? What does it have to do with you? What were you two doing on the balcony just now? Did he kiss you? Huh? Why aren't you talking? Was he the asshole who made you take Plan B? Does he know about our real relationship? Does he know how we lived under the same roof all those years? Do you actually like him? He was relentless, almost frantic. A smile played on his lips, but his eyes were completely devoid of warmth. I was furious. I summoned all my strength, wrenched my hand free, and slapped him across the face. A sharp crack echoed in the dim room. He poked the inside of his cheek with his tongue where I'd hit him. Then he turned his face back to me. My eyes burned, and my throat was tight. I fought to keep my voice steady. What right do you have to ask me these things? Weren't you the one buying another girl a bracelet, taking her shopping? Ha! Leon, do you still think you can play with my emotions like you used to? After all these years, you really haven't grown up at all. I stared straight at him. You want to know what we were doing on the balcony? Fine, I'll tell you. We kissed. And we made plans to go back to my place after this and finish what you didn't that night. Are you satisfied now, MMPH? Before I could finish the last word, his lips crashed down on mine. He lunged forward, grabbing my chin. His kiss was fierce, crushing. It was rough and urgent. I struggled, twisting my body, but it was useless. In a brief moment when we came up for air, I bit his lip, hard. He flinched, but he didn't stop. I don't know how long we kissed. Finally, I stopped struggling, silent tears falling from my eyes. That's when he softened. He pulled away from my lips. We were both breathing heavily. Seeing that I had stopped fighting, he gently kissed away my tears. Then he lowered his head and kissed me again and again, softly this time. When Leon pulled me through the crowd, everyone stared at us in shock. It was like they didn't know what had happened, but they could guess at some hidden secret from our expressions and the cut on Leon's lip. On the way back, he spoke up to explain. I didn't take her shopping, and I didn't buy her any bracelet. If I'm not mistaken, the person you're talking about is Kevin. I turned to look at him, a hint of surprise on my face. You don't believe me? Do I look like the kind of guy who would throw his friend under the bus? I turned away and ignored him. A moment later, Kevin's voice came through the car speakers. Yo, you ignore my calls earlier, and now you decide to remember I exist? I turned my head in shock to look at Leon. I mouthed at him, what are you doing? On the other end, Kevin didn't get a response and asked, the second you two left, a whole mob surrounded me asking what's going on with you two. So what is going on? You back together? Leon glanced at me. He didn't answer the question directly. Hello? What's up? You call me and then go silent. The birthday girl today, the bracelet on her wrist. You buy it for her? You mean Celine? Don't be like that. Don't tell me you still don't even know her name. Leon repeated, did you buy it? Yeah, I did. She's a great girl. When I first got here a few days ago, you were too busy with Olivia to even talk to me. She's the one who's been showing me around, taking me out to eat and drink. You've got some nerve asking. Why are you suddenly asking about? Okay, I get it. I'm hanging up. Wait, you still haven't told me about you and... The call ended. I looked at Leon, speechless. He said, completely serious, you believe me now? This guy is insane. We arrived at my front door. He followed me. I remembered what Kevin had said at the party. I turned around. What app do you usually use to book flights? He frowned, looking confused. But he told me the name of the booking app. I pressed on. Let me see your phone. He handed it over without hesitation. He didn't even ask what I was going to do. I opened the booking app on his phone. Under my orders, I typed London. The search results that popped up left me stunned and speechless. From 2020 to this year, for the past 5 years, there were a total of 178 round-trip flights. I scrolled through the list. Each entry was another blow to the fortress I had so carefully built around my heart. What's wrong? I tried my best to stay calm and closed the app. I handed his phone back, quickly pulling my hand away. I was afraid if I held on for a second longer, he would see the panic in my eyes. I turned to open the door. I'm tired. Whatever it is, we can talk about it tomorrow. I shut the door before he could reply. After shutting the door, I sank to the floor. I could still feel the phantom pressure of his lips on mine. My mind was a tangled mess. After a long time, I got up to take a shower. After showering, I dazedly put on a nightgown and stood in front of the mirror, blow-drying my hair. Then I vaguely heard the doorbell ring. I turned off the hairdryer, and the ringing became more urgent. I grabbed a knit cardigan and threw it on. I opened the door, and there was Leon. My heart jumped. Why are you back? He paused. I never left. Nothing's been resolved. Why would I leave? Leon, can you be reasonable for a second? This is my house, MMPH. He did it again. He stepped forward and swept me into his arms. He kicked the door shut with his foot. I lost my balance and had to grab onto his shoulders. He looked up and kissed me. I struggled, pushing against his shoulders. He wrapped one arm around the back of my legs and slid the other up to support my back. He kissed me until I was breathless. My head started to spin. The cardigan slipped down to my elbows from my struggling, exposing a wide swath of skin on my chest. I wasn't wearing a bra since I'd just showered. And this position put his line of sight at a very awkward level. My face flushed beet red. Leon. Don't look. I covered his eyes with my hand. But he just laughed. His voice was low and raspy. Like I haven't seen it before. Then he pulled my hand away and carried me towards the bathroom. What are you doing? Taking a shower. I already showered. Put me down. Then we'll take another one. In the steamy bathroom, I was pressed against the glass door. Is this what you call resolving things? He didn't answer. His mouth was busy doing other things. Just like every time before, he used his lips and hands to conquer every inch of my body. In a moment of hazy passion, I gasped. He felt me stir and looked up. Then he stood up, wiped his mouth, and whispered in my ear. You've never liked me, huh? You don't have any feelings for me anymore, right? Then what was that just now? Say something. You bastard. I grabbed his shoulders and bit down, hard. His hand slid up my leg, trying to get under my nightgown. But the wet fabric was clinging tightly to my skin. Annoyed, he simply turned me around. With a sharp rip, the sound of tearing fabric cut through the steamy, sensual air. Leon, that was a new nightgown. I'll buy you a new one. 10. 100. Even as we argued, his hands didn't stop moving. In the heat of the moment, he asked in a hoarse voice, condoms? Are there any in the bathroom? I gasped for air and shot back, do you keep condoms in your bathroom? Yeah. Our home will have them from now on. I didn't have time to process what he meant by that. He had already grabbed a towel, wrapped me in it, and lifted me up. The package he'd sent was still sitting, unopened, on the living room table. He leaned over and pulled out a box from the case. In a few steps, we were in the bedroom. He tore the towel off me. I kicked at him, but he caught my ankle. I sneered at him, weren't those a kind donation for someone else? He gave me a dark look. Don't even think about it. Not unless I'm dead. You. His kisses rained down on me again, soft and insistent. When he was deeply moved, he looked at me tenderly, his kisses landing on my eyes and brow. Olivia, I'm sorry. Forgive me for how we started. Forgive me for not seeing my own feelings, for making you feel so wronged all these years. Tears silently slid from the corners of my eyes onto the pillow. I turned my head away. I sniffled. You can't unspill milk, you know. I know. So let's start over, okay? Like any other normal couple. We'll date, for real. And then when you feel it's right, we'll get married. If you want kids, we'll have them. If not, it'll just be the two of us until the end. As he said this, his own voice started to crack. After a long night, I fell into a deep, exhausted sleep. When I woke up, I saw the empty condom box on the nightstand and his hand resting on my waist. For a moment, I felt a little dazed. Until Leon's phone buzzed with a new message. The name on the home screen was Leon Brown Sr. It was Leon's father. No contact name, just the raw number. Your Aunt Clara doesn't even want this daughter anymore. Are you really going to choose her over your own family? Your brother is still young. Brown Corp will be yours one day, that's a certainty. Get your priorities straight. Aunt Clara was my mom. The message had just arrived. A minute later, a call came in. I shifted, and Leon pulled me closer to him. Why aren't you sleeping in? You have a call. I got up, deliberately avoiding his gaze. I wrapped the towel from the edge of the bed around myself and left the bedroom. I absent-mindedly made coffee in the living room. Leon came out of the bathroom after his shower and walked over to me. He took the coffee cup from my hand. Stop drinking coffee on an empty stomach. It's bad for you. I'll make breakfast. What do you want to eat? I was silent for a moment, then said, you should go home. Your dad is right. Even my own mother chose her happiness over me. You don't have to. He took a step closer and pulled me into his arms. Please don't push me away, okay? My nose stung. I laughed at myself. She hasn't contacted me once this entire year. When I came to London, I lied to everyone and said it was a business trip. They say mothers and daughters have a special bond. The day I said goodbye to her, I could see in her eyes that she knew everything. But she didn't say anything. She didn't try to stop me. To be blunt, even if I had died out here this past year. Don't say that. What's all this talk about dying? He cut me off, leaning down to wipe away my tears. Then he continued, when I said last night that I wanted to start over with you, I was serious. But you don't have to feel pressured. I've been planning the London company for a long time. Kevin happened to have some business connections here, so he helped me set things up. I looked up at him, asking skeptically, he has business connections here? He nodded very seriously. Yes, he does. If Kevin hadn't told me everything yesterday, I would have actually believed him, seeing how earnest he looked right now. As for my relationship with my dad, it has nothing to do with you. No matter what happens in the future, I will fulfill my responsibilities as a son. But he has no right to interfere with my choices. They have their own lives now. He paused, taking a deep breath. Olivia, we shouldn't have to live in their shadow anymore. After that day, my relationship with Leon changed. But it hadn't changed enough for me to feel confident about starting over with him. I was afraid that a new beginning would just be a repeat of the past. He told me to give him a trial period. If, at the end of the trial period, I still decided to give up, he would respect my decision. I agreed. 4 months passed quickly. During those 4 months, he was incredibly busy with his new company. But no matter how busy he was, he came to have dinner with me every day. We really were like a normal couple. We went to movies, had dinner, went on dates, and he'd surprise me with little gifts from time to time. Until one day, I happened to be passing by his new office. I decided to go up and wait for him so we could go see a movie together afterward. He was in a meeting at the time. I waited in his office. I happened to see a document on his desk. It had a lot of official headings, but my eyes were drawn to 2 words, last will. My heart lurched. In that brief minute, a flood of terrible thoughts rushed through my mind. Finally, with trembling hands, I picked up the document. On the way home, he kept trying to soothe me. I was so angry I didn't say a word the entire drive. He followed me into my apartment. He tried to make small talk. Are you hungry? Kevin found a great new Chinese restaurant. Want me to take you? Or do you want to eat at home? I can cook. And the movie we missed, I checked, there's a late show. I can buy new tickets. Or do you want to go shopping? Leon, are you insane? I was too angry to speak properly. I turned away, putting a few steps between us, and sat on the sofa with my back to him. He stopped trying to fill the silence. After a moment, he walked over and slowly knelt in front of me. He gently took my hand. I tried to pull it away. But he held on tight. You know Do you have any idea how many horrible things just went through my head? I finally choked out. He squeezed my hand. Leon, I don't need you to do this, do you understand? He nodded, ruffling my hair. I know. But I need to. A lot of young people are writing wills early these days. It's just being prepared. After all, you never know if tomorrow or an accident will come first, right? He patiently explained as he knelt in front of me. That money is all from what I earned outside of the Brown family business, plus some stocks. It's not a huge amount, just a few tens of millions. The company I'm running now is just starting out, but I'm confident it has a bright future. And worst case scenario, if the company loses money, you won't have to bear any of the risk. It's all written in there. I'm not telling you this to burden you. I wasn't planning on telling you about it at all. I just didn't expect you to come by today. But since you know, just think of it as suddenly having an insurance policy. I sniffled. Who wants this insurance? I want you to live a long, healthy life. He looked at me intently, his thumb caressing the back of my hand. Of course. So, is the subtext here that you want me to be with you forever, until we're old? And does that also mean, I passed my trial period? I couldn't help but laugh at his ridiculous leap in logic. A corner of his mouth lifted into a smile. He leaned forward and kissed my cheek. As long as you're smiling. And the result of our reconciliation was that he ripped another one of my nightgowns that evening. I used to think that a broken mirror could never be whole again. That you can't unspill milk. That time would wear everything away, love, sadness, regret, it would all pass. But our reunion in London, and everything that came with it. It made me want to try for the new beginning he talked about. It's like that one poem says. Just as the sun rises new each day. Let's give our old love a new beginning. So, can we just be a normal couple and have a real relationship? This time, his answer was firm and unwavering. Yes. Of course.